Dr. Sarah Chen had spent 3 years tracking this aging silverback through the Virunga Mountains. Today, as smoke painted the sky amber, she found him in a valley where ancient trees stood like cathedral pillars. Then the wind shifted and the wildfire crowned, a wall of flames racing downslope toward them both. Sarah's GPS died. Her radio crackled static. The fire's roar became a freight train, her pulse hammering against the smoke filling her lungs. The gorilla retreated into a rocky outcrop, a natural chimney of stone. Sarah followed, gasping, as embers rained down like hellish snow, turning the forest into a furnace. Through the shimmering heat haze, she watched him. 300 pounds of primate power reduced to stillness. His eyes, those impossibly human eyes, locked on the flames. His fingers curled, released, curled again. A portrait of a mind calculating the incalculable. The science was clear. The fire moved faster than any mammal could run uphill. The smoke would suffocate them before the flames arrived. Sarah's career studying great apes had taught her their intelligence. But intelligence, she thought, was meaningless when physics held all the cards. Have you ever felt that level of helplessness? Hit like if you have. But what Sarah didn't understand yet was that this silverback had survived 40 years in these mountains. And survival, not intelligence, would be the currency that mattered. The gorilla moved, not away from the fire, toward it.
No.
Sarah's scientific mind recoiled. This violated every principle of animal behavior. Self-preservation was the first law. Yet he approached the wall of flames, stopped, then turned back to her. His grunt was low, insistent. When she didn't move, he did something that made her blood run cold. He reached out with one massive hand and gently, impossibly gently, tugged her sleeve. Was he actually asking her to follow him into the inferno? This wasn't instinct. This was strategy. This was experience translated into action. In that moment, Sarah understood. Intelligence wasn't humanity's patent. It was evolution's gift to survivors. The gorilla moved again, this time purposefully picking his way along the rock face toward a gap in the flames. Every movement deliberate. Every choice calculated. Sarah, her hands shaking, followed the being she'd come to study, but had never truly understood until now. But they weren't alone. From above the ridgeline, Jackson Mburu, a veteran park ranger who'd fought poachers and fires for 15 years, spotted movement through his thermal scope. 2 heat signatures in the kill zone, 1 human, 1 impossibly large. His first instinct screamed trap, illegal loggers using an animal as bait. His radio crackled with evacuation orders. He had minutes to decide, but as Jackson descended, he saw something that stopped him cold. The gorilla wasn't threatening the woman. He was leading her, pausing when she stumbled, selecting paths through the thinnest smoke. And the woman, she was following with the trust of a child. Jackson had spent his career reading animal behavior. This wasn't predation. This was protection. The question was protecting her from what? Here's what the science of primate behavior tells us: silverbacks are territorial, aggressive, unpredictable with humans. But paternal instinct overrides programming when a member of the troop is in danger. This gorilla had made a choice. To lead rather than flee, to include rather than abandon. Could you trust a wild animal with your life in a burning forest? That level of faith demands courage most of us will never need. Share this video if you believe trust can transcend species. Jackson called out in Swahili, then English. The woman, Dr. Chen, her ID badge still clipped to her vest, looked up with wild, smoke-reddened eyes. "There are others," she screamed. "Research station, half-kilometer east. 3 graduate students." The gorilla grunted, a sound Jackson had heard before.
Eastern Fire Zone.
Recognition. The old silverback knew exactly where she meant. He'd been there. Probably raided their supplies more than once. "We can't," Jackson said, checking his GPS. The fire had already overrun that sector. But the gorilla was moving again, this time with purpose, loping along a game trail Jackson himself had never noticed.
He knows
Sarah
a way.
followed, then stopped,
a way.
looking back at the ranger. "He knows a way," she said simply. Every instinct Jackson possessed said no. Evacuation protocol was absolute. The helicopter would be here in 10 minutes. But he'd seen something in that gorilla's eyes. The same thing he'd seen in the eyes of mothers dragging children from collapsed buildings during earthquakes. Not panic. He followed them into the smoke. The gorilla led them through a maze of volcanic rock, ancient lava tubes that channeled cooler air. Places too narrow for the fire to crown, too sheltered for embers to penetrate. Sarah coughed into her shirt, her lungs screaming, but the gorilla kept checking back, that massive head swiveling to ensure both humans were still with him. They found the research station encircled. 3 figures huddled in a corrugated shed, flames consuming the forest around them like a tightening noose. Sarah screamed their names. No response. Jackson's radio was dead, melted by heat. They had perhaps 2 minutes before the structure ignited. The gorilla charged forward, not into the flames, but parallel to them, following another hidden channel through the rocks. He stopped at a depression Sarah recognized, the dry stream they'd mapped last month. A natural fire break. "Get them here!" Jackson shouted, already running toward the shed. Sarah followed, her vision tunneling from smoke inhalation. Together they dragged the first student, unconscious, overcome, out of the structure. The gorilla watched from his safe zone, that silverback visible through the curtain of smoke like a beacon. When the roof collapsed, sending a column of sparks 50 feet high, it was the gorilla's roar that guided them through the final stretch of hell. They stumbled into the stream. 4 humans, 1 silverback, gulping air that wasn't pure poison. The gorilla sat heavily, his breathing labored but controlled. Sarah collapsed next to him, close enough to feel the heat radiating from his body. For a long moment, neither moved. Then Sarah did something no scientific protocol would ever recommend. She placed her hand near his, not touching, just acknowledging. The gorilla's eyes, amber in the firelight, met hers. And slowly, with a gentleness that defied his size, he extended 1 finger. Their skin made contact. Jackson, checking the student's vitals, witnessed it, would later swear to it under oath. When the footage from his body camera went viral, the moment a wild gorilla and a human scientist held hands while the world burned around them. "Why?"
Why did this happen?
Sarah whispered, her voice shredded by
this?
smoke. "Why did you save us?"
Why did you
The
save
gorilla
us?
didn't answer, of course. But as Sarah looked past him into the burning forest, she saw movement. 2 juvenile gorillas emerging from the same lava tube they'd used. The old silverback's troop. He hadn't just saved the humans. He'd used the humans' knowledge of the terrain, their presence, to secure a safe route for his own family. Jackson said it first, his voice hoarse with awe. "He didn't save you. He recruited you. Mutual rescue. Mutual survival." The helicopter found them 20 minutes later, an impossible cluster of species that shouldn't have been together, couldn't have survived apart. Intelligence isn't humanity's patent. It's evolution's gift to survivors. When the flames came, the boundaries between species burned away first. That gorilla understood something most humans never learn in crisis. Collaboration beats dominion. Wisdom beats strength. Trust beats fear. Sarah returned to those mountains every year after. The old silverback never approached her again. He didn't need to. They'd already said everything that mattered. Hit like if you believe wisdom transcends species.
With the wisdom we've
Subscribe
shared
for more
and the lessons
stories
learned,
where nature teaches
a
us
hopeful
what it
future
means
is
to be
possible.
human.